That's right.
And the adults in their life, it really does.
All right, it's going to be a hard transition, but let's talk to the guy behind these.
Keeps it under control.
Come on, we know that. Everybody knows that song, right?
You've been wanting to do
or this one.
Oh my God. Everybody sing. Oh my God. There we go.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't sing this Sheboygan song?
I just can't get you off my mind.
What's amazing is this guy's from Omaha, and he's going to be in the studio here with us in just a couple seconds. It's going to be a lot of fun chatting with him. 7:26 with Pat and JT coming right back. 7:36 on Q98 FM. Maybe we'll do top news a little bit later on, or maybe we won't.
Maybe we
or we might move it to next hour.
That's something to plan on.
Yeah.
Jeez,
we're nothing if not dependable.
High today is going to be probably around 65 to 70, right in there. 75 tomorrow.
All right, so we're just going to play a couple of these here real quick. We've been playing them all morning long, and we'll see what you guys... I mean, who doesn't sit in your shower and sing this? Come on, seriously?
Now we know Pat does.
Creepy.
I just can't get you off my mind.
Okay.
Pepper Jack's Grill.
Come on, that could be a hit, actually. The Pepper Jack's one.
Makes you want to dance.
It does. And eat.
Mm-hmm.
And how ironic that the guy behind all of those he lives here in Omaha.
That's pretty exciting,
Johnny
actually.
Gomez. Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, good morning.
And
Glad
I
to have
can't-
you in the studio
and I
this
can't
morning.
turn on the right microphone.
Well, good morning.
So how does it, you like hearing the little montage of all of them? Is it just kind of like your kids, just having them all lined up in front of you?
Yes, I think you two are having fun this morning.
We are. Well, it's kind of funny because grew up listening to your
All these
all
and
of your
others.
things. I mean, so many of them you just catch yourself singing when you're driving down the street. That's a sign of a good jingle. That's what they're called. I mean, people don't know it's a jingle advertising campaign. That's a sign of a good one. People remember it.
Exactly. That's what they're for.
Yeah,
you know?
just to stick in your head. There are some, there are some that are older, like the Roberts. How do you make it taste so good? People know that one.
1989.
Holy smoke.
Yes.
It works.
It does.
It works. Why change it? And what are some other ones too?
Here, I got the Roberts one here.
Yeah?
Roberts, how do you make it taste so good?
Flashback.
I know. That's awesome. Yep.
You know, a lot of these, the ideas come from the clients or the advertising agencies. So, in the case of Roberts, for instance, that was written by an ad agency. And then we just my job is to take it and make it in that form, a musical
Put it to
form.
music. That's what Barry Manilow used to do.
Barry Manilow got his start being...
Doing exactly what you're doing.
Right. And you know who else from Omaha, actually?
Who?
Chip Davis.
Oh, did he start
doing jingles?
He was doing Old Home Bread.
Was that like, okay, let me see if I can get this right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There was, because the Old Home Bread thing, and that whole story arc, that he was involved with that, and then Bill Fries
Exactly.
was the voice behind it. And the reason why I know that is my mom used to work at Channel 3 years ago.
That's
and
cool.
Bill Fries worked there.
Oh,
I think he
great.
was in sales department then.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And that's how she knew him. And she was just there she ran the switchboard, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not an easy thing to do.
Then that became the model for the movie Convoy.
Exactly. The hit song. And
Which is
it was just
amazing.
one thing
Which
to
is
spawn
amazing.
another thing because they came upon a storyline and they just kept expanding it and people got interested in it.
Same thing with Barry Manilow. He was doing jingles, and then Bette Midler discovered him. And then he went on the road with Bette Midler and then got signed with...
Isn't that crazy?
With label, and so
because doing this, this is a full-time job in itself. I mean, most people, this is what they want. I'm sure Barry Manilow was very happy doing what he was doing.
right.
And who knew he could go, that he would go in a different direction.
Well, I'm
Right.
still waiting to get signed.
You need Bette Midler to come through. We got to invite Bette Midler out.
Yeah, seriously. And do you remember what your very first thing that you
Successful
wrote?
jingle.
Yeah, the one that you heard on the radio for the first time or on TV for the first time that you were jacked
It's
about.
actually the same year, 1989, and you haven't played it yet this morning. It was the Garden Cafe.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
here we
my
go.
gosh,
This
here
one-
we
Do you
go.
remember that one?
Oh,
Well,
totally.
At the garden cafe, we love food.
That was one of your first ones?
Yeah, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah,
Please, go right
please
ahead.
do.
Doesn't even have to be quick.
You guys know Ron Pop, who started
Yes.
the Garden Cafe.
Right.
Now he has tremendous success with wheat fields.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my biggest life lesson when I started writing jingles is I wrote this page full of lyrics for the Garden Cafe.
Okay.
And at the end, and it's welcome to the garden. At the end, we love food. And I faxed it over to him because we didn't have email back then.
Sure.
And about a half an hour later, I got a fax back from Ron Pop, and everything had a magic marker through it, except for the very end.
We love food.
We love food. And I said, wait, I think he's onto something. Keep it simple, stupid.
So it turned into this.
Exactly.
Line cross out, line cross out, line cross out.
Yeah.
Not crossed out.
Garden Cafe. We love food.
How simple can it be?
Really?
Seriously. Okay, so where do the tunes come from?
Oh, sometimes, back then you had to be a little more thrifty but nowadays you've got YouTube and everybody's got a personal audio device and they just give you so much inspiration. A lot of times, jingles typically going back to the 70s and so forth, they've always been kind of modeled after popular music. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you get into parodies and stuff like that, but I have my own background in music, so I bring in my favorite types of groups. I like big band, the group Chicago. I mean, you might hear a lot of brass and stuff in some of my earlier work because that was my inspiration back then. And
that's all. I love hearing the stories behind them, and not only do I like hearing the stories behind the ones that we all know and that we all sing. What are the ones? Do you have any in mind that you can remember that you wrote and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing I've ever. That's horrible.
The ones that never hit the air.
Yeah, that you scrapped. Like I gotta start over.
I have a whole folder full.
Okay, or the ones that you're like, this was so good.
Oh,
this one's so
well,
good.
see, that's one of the pitfalls of being in advertising. I mean, you guys write spots.
Yeah.
I mean, you write things sometimes and you think,
this is brilliant.
yes.
How can you not love this?
Mr. Gomez, we hate it.
Yeah. We got to go in a different direction.
You got to have a pretty thick skin to do what you do. I mean, this is basically like one of your babies. You're taking these ad people, laying it on the table, and they're saying, you know what, your kid's ugly.
Yeah, that's
if they
what
don't
they
like
say.
it,
Yeah, you just have to get over it. And you know what? Sometimes you look at it that some
your kids are in here pointing at each other. You're the ugly one.
You're the one. We got both the kids. By the way, since your kids are in here too, who all do we have in here with you?
We have my son Colin here.
Yeah.
Colin Ray, named after the singer.
Nice.
And we have
gosh.
Hannah.
Cool.
And Michelle is here.
Hi. That's your family, they're very musical. Your children, everybody following along here. I mean,
Colin plays the skateboard really well.
That's all that matters.
That's awesome.
That's all that matters. Well, you never know. You never know down there because you do. You come from your background.
My father is an entertainer. He's been in the Omaha area for years, and I was fortunate enough to be around music, and I went and got on the road at an early age and got burnt out by the age of 21 and came back to Omaha and got into advertising.
And the rest is history. Another one that I sing all the time. So now, do you have a stable of singers that you always call and say, all right, guys, I got another one. Come on over.
I do. We are very fortunate in Omaha. There is so much talent in Omaha. Yeah. And I'm always trying to use different singers but I mean, as a matter of fact, we have some surprises for you guys. And I had singers in. We were going till 11:30 last night.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, we were.
All right,
what kind of surprises?
Well,
what do we get to find out yet?
Let's take a break and then we'll come back.
Okay.
We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. So, what are like a little tease on the surprises? What are we doing here? What do we got?
First of all, I thought it'd be neat if we took some of these jingles that you've been playing, and go with this idea that what would have happened if Pat and JT would have hired me that day that I wrote the Garden Cafe jingle.
We love food. That's what we would have said. We love food.
It's all correct.
Well, you'll have to hear what I thought you would have said at 11:30 last night.
Oh, great!
This should be interesting. All right, so Johnny Gomez joining us behind a lot of the things you hear on the radio. Pepper Jacks, for instance. And we'll talk to him more next, coming up after the break. 7:44.